Hello and welcome back to Oxygen Not Included. Let's play episode 83. I think in this episode we are going to plan out our liquid oxygen slash steam generation room. The steam generation part is what's going to be immediately relevant because we are going to want to start building our rocket now that we have most of this rocket tube kind of all set up here. But we are interested in the liquid oxygen in the long run because that's going to be an important rocket fuel, in a sense, going forward. So let's start a little bit of work on that. One of the difficulties is that we have all this area filled with oxygen, and a lot of oxygen. We could set things up so that we have a vacuum and do this kind of all super nice. I'm not really sure I want to go down that road quite yet, because I think we are going to want to pump in a lot of hydrogen as well. And we have our hydrogen right nearby. So let's not... I keep getting in this habit of pausing. So let's start thinking about what we want to do with this area here. Okay, so... fundamentally, the way our system is going to work... I am going to need to pause a little bit, I suppose. Alright. Let's pause and so I can think about things for a bit. The way this is going to work is that we are going to have a steam generation room right here, and it is going to be effectively the heat sink for our oxygen generation room, or liquid oxygen generation room. So I want this area to have, say, utilities. We're going to hook up a couple thermoregulators. We're going to make them out of steel. And the plan is to pump hydrogen through these thermoregulators, through our liquid oxygen room, and have the heat that's being generated in the vicinity of these thermoregulators just go into this steam room here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to slap a couple of these down here. Yes. And we don't need a whole lot of clearance here. We can just say ceramic across the top like so, and across here. And then we can have our liquid oxygen room. We will kind of want to vacuum seal this off. So I think we're actually going to set up essentially another layer right here, like this, and we will set up a Weiswort to turn this area into a vacuum, basically just to take out all the air. In fact, maybe that's how we deal with both of these rooms, vacuuming them out, is just with that process right there. But this is essentially going to be the setup of our build. We're just going to dig this out. Yeah. Okay. And I think we'll just vacuum them out with Weisworts one at a time, because I believe that vacuum still will suck out air at a diagonal, and so you're able to kind of create vacuums in that fashion with having a Weiswort be the little vacuum creator and having the area that you want to turn into a vacuum out like so. So this is going to be a vacuum barrier between these two insulated tile layers. Let's go ahead and deconstruct these so that we can finish building all that out. We're going to need to set up a little bit of scaffolding over here as well, aren't we? Ladder. Let's make this out of anything right now. Like so. This will all get deconstructed and swept out before we're done. We'll mine this out. Let's have them go to work on that. And then we are going to set up a liquid oxygen room. And this is maybe the room that actually just defines a lot of the size requirements. So I think we're just going to store a lot of steam down here and then pump it out to our rocket base up here. But this room for the liquid oxygen is going to want to have our storage for our coolant. So it's going to want to have a gas reservoir. It's going to want to have a liquid pump It's going to want to have a liquid reservoir. This is a lot to have. So I think we want to extend this out a little bit, actually. Make this out of mafic rock. Let's just set up some scaffolding for now. Well, actually, let's just do this. Like so. Is this enough space for us? Let's see. So, I want storage for my... Yeah, I think this will be sufficient. I think actually this is a little bit too much, and we'll have the wall right here, I think is the plan. So in fact, let's go ahead and say mafic rock ladder down here. Like this. Cancel this, dig it out, and cancel these actually, and replace them with mafic rock ladder as well for the time being. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the plan. So we're going to have a vacuum seal between these two rooms, because one of them is going to be very hot, and the other one has to be very cold. We could also potentially set up a vacuum seal here. Maybe that's wise, because this is imperfect insulator that we're working with. Options, options, options. Because this area could get pretty hot as well. It's not going to be as persistent a heat, though. There's not going to be a lot of thermal mass. This is mostly going to be vacuum most of the time, right? Alright, this is all running just fine. We're dumping oxygen out into here. The oxygen is kind of hot. But that's fine as well, I think. Okay. So we're going to set up a couple thermoregulators. And then we want sort of a control system for these thermoregulators. How much power actually is a thermoregulator? 240 watts. We could set up 3 of them. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. And we want to control the temperature that the coolant goes into these. So maybe we actually want to space them out. That way we can put some sensors here. What are the sensors that we're going to put on? So plumbing-wise, these are going to be insulated liquid pipes. They're going to be made out of ceramic. Sorry, not liquid pipes. Gas pipes. What am I thinking? Insulated gas pipes made out of ceramic. And we're basically going to say, as it passes through... Yeah, we're going to have it come down here. And as it passes through, there's going to be a sensor. And that sensor is going to say, gas pipe thermal sensor. We're going to slap down, I suppose, here, here, and here. If we have it loop like this. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So we are going to set up insulated gas pipe. Oops. Make it out of ceramic. And it is going to run across... Yeah. We'll actually have it enter here, because I want to limit the time it spends. And then we'll feed into here, and feed into here, and then it will come out. Right? That's the plan. And we're going to slap down a gas pipe thermosensor. We'll make this out of steel as well. Interesting. So we do want the unoccupied space. We can't build it right there. Cancel all this then. We'll stick our mafic rock ladder. Didn't mean to disconnect or deconstruct that. Okay. Let's space these out a little bit then. In fact, while we're at it, maybe we do want the vacuum seal. 1, 2, 3. Utilities. Thermal regulator. So each one of these is going to want to have its own... I think each one is going to have its own sensor. So 1, 2, 3 actually works just fine. Okay. We're going to go like this, and then ultimately we're going to need to deconstruct this, but we'll build another thermoregulator right there. And we're going to have ventilation, insulated gas pipe, ceramic, and it is going to come down from here, and we're going to have it come out here. And just imagine another thermoregulator is here for a moment. And we are going to stick a gas pipe thermosensor right here, and then we are going to stick one right here and right here. And we are going to have insulated gas pipe, ceramic, go like so, and like so, and like so, with the third thermoregulator right here. And these sensors are going to say, look, if the temperature is too low on this coolant, for whatever reason, right? We've been running it for so long that the temperature's gotten super low, and running it through this thermoregulator would liquefy. It would turn it from a gas to a liquid. And we don't want you to run through this thermoregulator. Instead, we just want you to skip it, right? That's the plan. So we want to have another way for this thing to go, essentially. To pump through this system. And one of the ways that we can do that is, I mean, we could just have it go in a straight line here, I suppose. That system would work, but it wouldn't be the smoothest of flows. Yeah, I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to say gas bridge like so. And we'll make these out of ceramic as well. And this one, I suppose, can go like this. Like so. And then we'll have insulated gas pipe, ceramic. So it'll approach this thermoregulator, and it will say, can I enter this thermoregulator? This sensor, depending upon the temperature, will say yes or no. If it's too cold and we don't want it to get any colder because it'll break the pipes, this will switch to no, and then we'll have it instead go down to this bridge. From this bridge, it'll go back up, and it'll say then, oh, can I enter? If the answer is no, it will continue on to our bridge down here. Likewise, it's approaching this, says, can I get in? We say no. It goes up. Did I do this right? There's going to be another thermoregulator here. Yeah, and then this last thermoregulator will say whether or not it can go in, and if not, it'll come up here. And if it'll exit here or exit here. All right, perfect. So this is going to be our loop down here. We need to add the logic, we need to add power lines, we need to add a lot of stuff up here, but this is basically how this system is going to work, right? It looks really complicated, but gas comes in, it checks whether or not it's too cold. If the gas is too cold, it just continues on, right? And doesn't do any heat up process. If the gas is fine, then the gas just continues on, right? Goes through the thermoregulator, generates heat, cools off the gas even further, and then it's going to come back up here, right? So this is going to be our big loop. We're going to lose a little bit of efficiency because we're using ceramic pipes, but that's fine. We'll live with this for now. It's not meant to be the most efficient of setups. Our liquid oxygen setup is going to be a little bit different. And it's basically just going to be accepting that coolant. And it's going to be a big sort of loop. We want to put our gas reservoir, I think we're just going to put it in the middle. Could put it something like right here. I think we want to put it a little bit to the side here. That way we can have a little bit more looping going on in the rest. Yeah, I think this is fine. Alright. So we're going to have... We'll make this out of steel as well, even though this isn't really the concern. We're going to have that. And then we will have ourselves a pump. A liquid pump right here made of steel. And we'll make ourselves a liquid reservoir right here. And then this system is going to say, okay, when do I put... This system is going to be merely concerned with when do I put oxygen in, when do I take it out. This is going to be our hydrogen reservoir, our cooled hydrogen reservoir, basically. And the rest of this is going to deal with oxygen and sensors and so on and so forth. So let's get to that a little bit later, once we've had a chance to kind of build out some of this and maybe seal off a few things. Let's go ahead and ceramic this up. Also do need to kind of test to see whether or not the Weiswart vacuum strategy still works. It's a little bit of a concern. How are we doing with the oxygen up here? Fine. Alright. These will slowly start to fill up. Hydrogen, 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 that's all correct. This has a little bit of stuff we don't want in it. These little small packets. This is hydrogen up here that's kind of collected. That's fine. Temperature-wise, doing fine. Okay. Perfect. Any of this stuff, go ahead and grab. Alright. Let's go back to waiting on things to get built. And I'll start explaining a little bit more of our process over here. So, whenever you have one of these coolant systems, usually the important thing is that you get your sensors right. If you get the sensors right, then everything else kind of usually falls into place. So it's a question of when do we want to add water into this system? When do we want to take steam out? Right? When are these things going to turn on? And here, when do we want to add oxygen in, and when do we want to take liquid oxygen out? Or when do we basically want to run this pump and pump it into our liquid oxygen reservoir, right? We don't want to pump out the liquid oxygen when it is like just barely liquid oxygen, because it might sublimate and turn into gaseous oxygen in our pipes, break our pipes, and cause damage. Likewise, we don't want to be adding in oxygen when we're not like taking out any oxygen, right? Because we'll just never reach liquid oxygen. We'll always be adding in new hot oxygen and causing this whole process to mess up. So we want to kind of concern ourselves a little bit with that, and setting up that system to work a little bit better. We also, I think, want to pre-cool our oxygen. 70 degrees is kind of hot. So this is 50 degrees, 45. So it's already kind of cooling off as it comes along here. But we're going to want a sort of pre-cooling loop before it goes into our system to help improve the efficiency. Because the problem is not necessarily going to be generating steam. That, I think, is going to go fairly smoothly. The problem is usually going to be that we are not going to generate that much liquid oxygen, right? So we're more interested in having our stuff come in cold. The water, we don't care if it comes in cold or hot that much. The colder it is, the more liquid oxygen we're going to produce. The hotter it is, the more steam we're going to produce. Again, liquid oxygen is more the harder thing to produce. So we're kind of fine with I know it sounds weird because we're planning on we're trying to heat up the water, but we're kind of fine with the water coming in cold as a result. We're mainly concerned with the oxygen coming in cool. I think that's the main thing we will be dedicating our wheeze wards to. We could set up a little pre-staging area where we have like the water. I mean, this water is already at 40 degrees. We're probably just going to get our water from this water sieve. I think that's fine. We could be a little bit more efficient and use that water to try and cool down something. I don't think we want to have a little staging area though. I think we want to. We can build the staging area somewhere else. This whole system I want to be able to rearrange later on. I don't want it really intricately tied to this the system as it is right now. So I think we're just going to let the water come in at 40 degrees and get heated up and live with that. So what else do we want to work on here? Let's go ahead and ceramic up this and ceramic up this. I don't think we're going to have a vacuum seal here. Again, we've talked a little bit about this. I don't think it's quite necessary, so I'm going to leave that out. But everything else here I think is appropriate. We will want a power supply for the system, and it's going to have to be fairly significant. At least a couple coal generators the way things are right now, because these thermal regulators are going to take up more than a coal generator worth of power. Yeah. New dupes available. What do we have? Nothing that we care about. Get out of here. You didn't manage to entomb yourself, did you? No, perfect. Okay. How is the rest of our stuff going? I think we're going to cap the episode here. And when we come back in the next episode, I'll start explaining sensors. We didn't really make any progress in terms of actually doing anything this video, because we focused mainly on explaining the build, so to speak. But we're down to 60 tons of clay. We're starting to burn through it. We don't really use it for anything else. Generate a lot of ceramic. How's the temperature down here? It's kind of hot, but not that bad. This water is coming in at 14 degrees and leaving at 15 degrees. That's fine. Alright, this is workable. This is livable. I'm going to cap things here, and in the next episode, we are going to start working on explaining the sensor system that we have for our liquid oxygen / steam generation room. Maybe start working a little bit on building our rocket out. I think we could do that. This is pretty low. Yeah, I think we could start working on some of our rocket stuff. We'll catch that in the next episode, though. Alright, I'm going to cut things here and see you guys next time.